Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Released in 2019 by Titanfall developers Respawn Entertainment, we follow Padawan Cal Kestis 5 years after Order 66 wiped out many of the Jedi and sent the survivors into hiding. While it's not without its faults, Fallen Order is a lot of fun, offering a mix of various gameplay elements inspired by Dark Souls, Uncharted, and Metroid. Respawn gave hope to Star Wars gamers after the debacle that was Battlefront 2. Can we put a dent in the Empire's army on our quest to rebuild the Jedi Order? I begin by selecting Jedi Master difficulty, and we cut to the scrapyard planet Bracca, while Sugana Senna from the Mongolian band The Who plays. We follow a probe droid as it floats by our protagonist and his friend Prof. We're ordered to check out some jammed machinery, and we take control of Cal, played by Cameron Monaghan, most well known for his role as Ian in the Showtime series Shameless, and for the Joker in Fox's Gotham. He really embraced the role of Cal by showing off some of his XMA background during his audition, and doing what any sane person would do in their position and taking his lightsaber home to display as a centerpiece.
And at the end of it, I took it home. I was just like, I'm stealing this.
A large separatist ship drops in to be pulled apart for scrap, and they make it abundantly clear how present the Empire is on this planet. After a few minutes of parkour, we unjam the clamps and uncover an old Jedi fighter that Prof is elated to find, telling Cal he can use that money to leave the planet. But the Force is not on their side, as some cables begin to snap, creating an epic slide. Cal's ankle gets entangled in some wires, while Prof struggles to hold on, and a probe droid simply watches the drama unfold. Prof loses his grip, prompting Cal to reach out with the Force and ease his fall. Not wanting to get the Boba Fett experience, Cal pilots the barge far away from the Iblis Maw, and Prof thanks Cal for risking his neck to save him.
Don't mention it. I mean it.
His next request is to let him nap, but when he wakes up, Prof is gone. We stand up and follow him through the train until the environment changes and we're suddenly inside of an Imperial hallway, and Cal's former master, Jaro, jump scares him with a message.
Trust only in the Force.
Cal jolts awake to stormtroopers ushering everyone off the train to have a peaceful chat with a couple Inquisitors. Here we meet the primary antagonist, Second Sister, one of the 12 known Inquisitors that serve Darth Vader and whose job is to hunt down any surviving Jedi. She threatens to execute everyone if they don't hand over the Jedi hiding out here. Prof takes this opportunity to say fuck the police, which gets him killed, enraging Cal, who is easily pushed back into the paws of the Ninth Sister. She loses her grip on him when he gives her a little poke from his saber and drops all the way down to a moving train, where we get our first taste of the game's combat. Stormtroopers are easily defeated, but the game is no walk in the park, as they and other enemies can hit back hard and overwhelm Cal with numbers. I add over 20 Storm and Scout troopers before getting embarrassed by a Scout who will likely be getting a promotion. Once those 4 are unalived, Cal needs to deal with being shot at from a ship, using cover and the power of Nathan Drake to traverse the train. Wondering how in God's name we're escaping this scenario, a different ship appears, with someone telling us she'll help us, but can't quite yet as they risk being shot down. That's cool, because the extra time allows me to rack up more kills until the train gets bombed and we begin sliding towards the caboose and Jedi jump towards safety. Cal falls off and basically lands right in the lap of the Second Sister.
Who's your master? Padawan? Someone I killed, perhaps?
After a couple minutes of dueling, our unknown allies end the fight and usher Cal on board, but the Second Sister has the demeanor of a honey badger, jumping on the front of their ship to take control of their steering until she's thrown off. We're introduced to Seer, an ex-Jedi who cut herself off from the Force, and the pilot Grease, an alien species known as the Latero that was created for the game. They monitor Imperial communications and heard about the Inquisitors visiting Bracca, hoping to find a Jedi as step number 1 to rebuilding the Jedi Order. Instead, they find Cal, a Padawan who wasn't able to complete training and received a large amount of trauma from Order 66. We arrive on Bogano, and Seer points us towards the large vault in the distance that needs a Force sensitive to unlock. I stop to meditate, which behaves in a similar manner to the bonfires in Dark Souls, and when I open my eyes, the best little droid ever is there to greet us. BD-1 becomes Cal's fearless companion, taking on things much larger than it. I slice up the Bograts for harming my new friend and go to the nearby workbench to fix him up and change my lightsaber color. We explore Bogano, killing most of the creatures in our path, and learn how to wall run by sending us back to Cal's experience as a young Padawan. Previously seen on this channel for his work on the God of War games, director Stig Asmussen credits Star Wars for his career path. Wanting to be able to tell stories of his own, he got the chance to tell one inside the universe that inspired him, and gets to continue that with the sequel Jedi Survivor. The team is filled to the brim with Star Wars fans who were beyond excited to begin work on Fallen Order, deciding to stop development of their next game when EA came knocking with a chance to create a Star Wars game instead.
We as a team, got to choose, and it was unanimous.
Cal approaches the structure and enters the Vault Hussy, where BD-1 plays a hologram of Jedi Eno Cordova, explaining that within this vault he hid a holocron containing the names and locations of all known Force sensitives in the galaxy. With the Jedi, nothing is straightforward, so he tasks Cal with studying the Zeffo, a lost civilization that built this vault and 3 temples on separate planets that Cordova visited to learn about the Force in order to unlock the holocron. Instead of using the dry stone just inches away, Cal plops his ass directly into the dirty standing water just to tell BD-1 he's done hiding. He could have done all that with a dry booty, but to each their own. On my way out, I add to Blinky the 3-eyed frogs and board the Mantis, telling Seer I'm ready to help rebuild the Order. Cal explains what he found in the vault, learning that Seer was once Cordova's apprentice and that her previous master isn't the only one with the holocron.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen.
On our way to the Zeffo homeworld, Grease tells Seer about a legendary Jedi with green pointy ears he used to hear about growing up and would love to meet. Master Yaddle, baby. Unfortunately for Grease, he'll never get that opportunity and has Count Dooku to thank for it. We approach Zeffo despite the strong storm interfering with our comm system. It's not the only thing raging here either, as Cal introduces himself to the fauna on Zeffo, along with every Imperial soldier littered about to get his kill total into triple digits. This bitch-ass Philak corners me and has the audacity to come in for an immediate second hit as I'm trying to heal, giving me my second death. I listened to a recording of the Empire detailing their efforts on this planet. The electromagnetic winds render their mining equipment inoperable, while the local wildlife continue to kill more troopers. Thank God I'm not the only one getting beat up then. But if it's not the wildlife killing the troopers, it's Cal. We get closer to the Zeffo ruins as Cal comments on the storm battering the interior and the pull he feels coming from inside. But a lot more creatures lie between us and our objective.
These things are pretty cute.
Inside the ruins, we encounter the Tomb Guardian and convince it to walk into the nearby Skungus until it's injured enough to die. Right after that, we flash back to Cal's days of training, where he's taught to use Force Push and the memory unlocks the ability for us to use right away on a couple Guardians. Cordova recognizes the patterns on the wall, resembling the type of tree found on the planet Kashyyyk, and has Cal search for a Wookiee named Tarful that likely knows about the Zeffo's visits to their planet. We tell Seer what we found and head back to the Mantis, reducing the local Imperial population along the way. During our journey, we periodically upgrade BD-1, which allows Cal to access parts of the map he couldn't before, promoting further exploration and returns to planets we've already visited. I also make my lightsaber match my hair color and use it to strike fear into the hearts of the Empire by adding more troops and an ATST to the count. When Cal boards of the Mantis, we tell Seer and Grease about what we found and begin our trek to Kashyyyk, where the Empire is fighting the Wookiees.
The Empire's muscling in on those Wookiees big time.
So we better get ready for a fight.
Aw, shit. We get a bit of Seer's backstory here, telling Cal she was caught during the Purge when trying to lure the clone troopers away from her Padawan. She got tortured for information and says her Padawan did not survive. Seer is played by Deborah Wilson, perhaps most well known for being an original cast member for Mad TV, but she's had a prolific career after leaving the show, appearing in roles in movies, TV, and video games, showing up as Gryla in God of War Ragnarok and Kit in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, among many others. Their pilot Grease is played by Daniel Roebuck, who loved the character and really appreciated the fact that he didn't need to sit in a makeup chair for the role.
Getting to put grease-dritis on and not have to go to the makeup chair, that's an extraordinary gift.
We pop out of hyperspace to find a blockade, but Seer specializes in fuckery and amassed our ship transponder to appear as an Imperial ship. That allows us to slip by unnoticed onto the planet, where we find the Wookiees taking it to the Empire. Cal joins the fight by jumping down and hijacking an AT-AT. And while inside, we kill the 3 troopers and then put some heads together to figure out the next step, which is blowing up a nearby walker and having a brief chat with Resistance fighter Saw Gerrera. Forrest Whitaker reprised his role from Rogue One and Rebels and helps on Cal's initial visit to Kashyyyk. Using the AT-AT, I obliterate the Empire's outpost and add 40 kills to the count until I shoot down their transport ship and it crashes into me to end my walking days forever. Cal inquires about Tarful, however Saw claims the Space Yeti is impossible to locate and that I may have better luck getting a lead if I free some Wookiee prisoners in the nearby refinery. I tell Saw to say less as I'm happy to spend the next 50 minutes exploring this planet a bit while racking up some Imperial bodies and logging the new fauna in my Pokedex. With the Resistance fighters' help, Cal is able to free the enslaved Wookiees and earn their trust as well as Saw's, who invites Cal to fight with them. Cal politely declines this offer, using the Force to look into his future. The Wookiees offer to find Tarful for me, but need some time to do so. Cere calls Cal to tell him she intercepted some Imperial chatter about them uncovering another tomb back on Zeffo, giving us something to do while we wait on the Wookiees. We arrive on Zeffo, where Cal tries out for their competitive bobsled team before beating up on more animals and humans alike, capping his murder spree off by making this purge trooper look foolish for thinking he could outmatch a Jedi. But someone else more powerful lurks here, this time more educated on Cal and the holocron we seek. Seeing no reason to chit-chat, he responds with his lightsaber.
Outstanding.
After a couple minutes of crossing swords, the second sister pushes Cal back with the Force and is only thwarted by the quick thinking of BD-1 when he puts a barrier up between the two. She reveals herself to be Trilla Siduri, Cere's old Padawan that Cal believed to be dead. Trilla tries to turn Cal to her side by claiming Cere will hand him over to the Empire like she did to her. Elizabeth Grujohn plays her first villain in Fallen Order, and despite being an American, decided to don a British accent for Trilla, stating it came naturally to her, much like her successful attempt at angering Cal by bringing up his old master. She grows tired of talking to Cal through a force field, and instead hijacks his comms as we approach the tomb of Mictril. While Cal cuts down the aggressive animals and Trilla's troops, she chimes in to inform him that her scouts have found an artifact and that he's running out of time. She sees her chance to take Cal out by shooting the Zeffo sarcophagus we're standing on to drop us into the void below, but instead it triggers another memory that unlocks the force pull ability, that along with our other techniques continues to push the kill total closer to 400 until Cal raises the tomb to unveil some details from Cordova. Zeffo graffiti artists left behind some clues that point towards an item called the Astrium that will help us unlock the vault on Bogano. Trilla thanks Cal for raising the tomb for her, so I thank her for her company down here by killing more of her men, until Cal is jumped by a bounty hunter and captured. I awaken in a cell without BD-1. That guy is priority number 1, and if any harm comes to him, I'll go to the dark side, I don't give a fuck. BD-1 is played by Star Wars veteran Ben Burtt, who is responsible for many iconic noises throughout the series, including R2-D2's voice, the hum of the lightsaber, and Darth Vader's breathing. A few minutes later, I find the little guy walked away perfectly fine and remove the restraining bolt from him so we can leave this dump. We enter an arena where the leader of the crime syndicate, the Haxian Brood, explains we can thank Grease's gambling problem for our current position. This was touched on earlier during a brief back and forth between Grease and Cere while planet hopping. They send out various animals in waves for Cal to eliminate until the bounty hunter that caught us enters the ring and serves as a pathetic final fight and goes down within seconds. As timely as ever, Grease pilots the Mantis into the arena for Cal to escape on. He updates them on the unfortunate news that the Empire now knows about the holocron and that he knows about Trilla. Motherfucker needs to mind his own business. Cal makes it clear he doesn't trust Cere at this point, but their conversation gets cut off when we get a message from Kashyyyk that Tarful has been located. But the Empire came back even stronger and chased Saw and most of the fighters off the world. Grease wakes Cal up to apologize for his gambling issues and asks he cut Cere some slack because he loves them both.
Before you came along, all I cared about was a tight hand on a stiff heater.
Not being able to leave that ship quick enough, Cal darts out onto Kashyyyk in search of Tarful, the same Wookiee we saw in episode 3 help ensure Yoda escaped the purge safely. We add a whole lot more kills to the count while dodging the creepy fucking plant life. We find Tarful deep within the forest, who tells us Cordova found something of interest at the top of the origin tree, but the only way to get up there is by traveling in its root system underwater. Cal is gifted an underwater breather and continues with his murderous ways in the name of the light side. On our way up there, the ninth sister shows up to taunt him a little bit, but her ship gets attacked by a giant Shio bird to end the long mudsliding sequence. Shortly after that, Cal gets a flashback to when he played Super Mario 64 for the first time and remembers how to double jump, then gets his Disney princess on by approaching the bird to remove some metal from its wing. It wants to show Cal the world and really wants to see him rock the double-sided saber like his favorite prequel trilogy character. Directly after upgrading my saber, we learn that Cordova found an Astrium here and is beyond giddy that he doesn't need to go to the dark world of Dathomir to find the one inside of the Zeffo tomb there. Looking forward to some more free flights on the Shio airline, but it's shot down by the ninth sister.
Let's make this quick.
Okay.
You're not winning this.
That second death was so irritating, man, as she was simply moving her saber to the side as I slowed her down to deal the final blow. Sometimes it just be like that, man, and sometimes it be like this. Now, this is Star Wars, and since we don't see a body, we can only speculate that she died. I'm going to count her as a kill, but I won't be surprised to find out she's still alive in the next game. I get on top of Sweet D again, and for whatever goddamn reason, it doesn't take me directly to the Mantis, and instead it drops me off like halfway to it, forcing me to navigate all the way back and kill anything in my path. When Cal gets back to the Mantis, he gets them going towards Dathomir, while Seer admits she gave up her Padawan after being tortured by someone she only describes as a dark shadow. But Cal took Greeza's pleas to heart and forgives her for withholding some information. We arrive on Dathomir, which gets unlocked right along with Zeffo at the start, but if you come here first, you'll find things much more difficult as the local wildlife is stronger than on Zeffo. We find evidence of the Zeffo, but then a local pops up to inform Cal he's trespassing and sticks her brothers on me to help get my kill total to 500. Further down the path, we meet this hooded weirdo who claims he's studying extinct civilizations.
You study the Night Sisters?
Yes, that Night Sister. Oh.
Getting strange vibes from this fool, we part ways, but not before he warns Cal to keep away from the ruins, otherwise risk being seduced by the power within that corrupted the Night Sister and her kin. Not about to listen to the nameless creep, Cal notices a surface he can climb, but needs some equipment. The nearby Night Brother offers a big-ass rock which sends us hurtling down into the swamp below, where the Night Sister births her undead sisters from the ball sack hanging above. We fight her sisters, brothers, and all sorts of beasties within the swamp as we search for a way out of it and into the ruins, while spotting a rather large flying creature in the distance.
Any idea what that flying creature is? Let's hope we don't find out.
Well, Cal, I have bad news for you, brother, because we've wandered into its lair and it really doesn't want us to get that climbing equipment. While initially intimidating, I found the Gorgara boss fight to be on the easier side, just smacking them wings in that badass until it runs off and I can claim the climbing gear. While testing out the new gear, Gorgara decides it's a good time to start some crap again and succeeds in tallying up death number 5. The next time around, it picks Cal off the wall, showing him he doesn't want to fight and just wants to take him for a tour around the planet. But Cal's got a little bit of chiroptophobia and harasses it until he gets the thing killed by smashing it into every object in sight. Not yet satiated, Cal adds another 25 victims to the tally before reaching the final Zeffo tomb. We flash back to Kitty Cal high-fiving clones on his way to a training session with Jaro. We reach him just in time for the clones to receive Order 66, while Jaro simultaneously feels a disturbance in the Force. He quickly offs the clone trooper and tells Cal he needs to get to the escape pods while he distracts the clones. This is one of my favorite sequences in the whole game because we get more insight into the trauma Cal experienced watching his friends betray him, even putting down 4 of them himself, while the epic John Williams track The Great Jedi Purge from Episode 3 plays throughout. As you can expect with Star Wars media, the music in this game is excellent, and both Stephen Barton and Gordy Hobb did an amazing job of creating tracks that fit perfectly into the Star Wars universe. It was all recorded in Abbey Road Studios, which has a long history with Star Wars. Cal's lightsaber is shot out of his hand, which earns him a scolding from Jaro as soon as he saves him. We eventually find ourselves by the escape pods that are quickly overrun by clones that Jaro has to defend against until Cal can open up a pod for them to escape in. Cal gets himself a nifty little scar in his face, but Jaro took a few too many blaster hits to survive. He hands his lightsaber to Cal as the ship explodes to mask their escape. When we jump back to the present, Jaro is there to verbally berate Cal and feed into all his insecurities.
My blood is on your hands, apprentice.
And when he realizes it was just a vision, the damage to his lightsaber is not. The Wanderer greets Cal outside and reveals himself to be former Jedi Terran Malicos, who came to Dathomir to hide out after the Purge. He fought and defeated the Night Brothers and offers to help Cal control his powers, but the Night Sister Marin arrives echoing the same words he just told me. Turns out old Malicos here is the reason she was trying to kill us in the first place, blaming the Jedi for the massacre of her kind that was orchestrated by Count Dooku and General Grievous. Angry about this revelation, she revives even more of her sisters, prompting us to book it back to the Mantis. Cal shows Seer his broken saber, and we form a plan to go to the planet Ilum to build a new one, so Cal can finally let go of his past. We arrive on the snowy planet, which is later mined and occupied by the First Order and turned into Starkiller Base. I eventually enter the caves and locate the Kyber crystal calling to me. We're not completely alone here though, as some probe droids wander about. After an ice bath, we locate our crystal, which promptly shatters in his fucking hand. Cal gets real morose about this, but BD-1 continues to be the best little companion, playing a recording of Cordova that gets Cal's attitude straight.
Failure is not the end. It is a necessary part of the path.
I used that broken crystal to make a sick purple lightsaber and used that to kick the absolute shit out of all the troopers and droids that were sent into the caves to find me. As I emerge from the cave, Seer tells me that the Empire is sending a fleet our way and to hurry back, but a couple ATSTs and their pilots are there to increase my kill total to 629. I board the Mantis and fly back to Dathomir to beat up on some more meat bags until I'm blocked by another bounty hunter and his weak-ass droid friend that gets manhandled by my lightsaber. I turn my attention towards the bounty hunter who simply gives up instead of facing me. Inside the ruins, Cal faces Jaro again, but this time instead of fighting, he accepts the truth of what happened and vows to honor his teachings. This opens the way forward for Cal, and opens up these Night Brothers to a can of whoop-ass. Merrin appears behind Cal, still distrustful, but gets the truth from him and not the version Malicos gave her. She disappears, telling Cal she'll be watching our showdown with the former Jedi up ahead. Terran Malicos is not interested in restoring the Order, and would rather fight Cal nips out. When he's at half health, he knocks Cal down and nearly ends him, but Merrin butts in to assist, giving me another minute of life before Malicos wins. I reload and wipe the floor with him.
They felt that!
However, Cal does not get to claim this kill because Merrin takes this opportunity to bury him. Afterwards, Merrin says she'll help Cal find the Astrium, which is just a little ways beyond our current location. Once we obtain it, Merrin doesn't ask, but demands to join Cal on his journey as Dathomir has nothing left for her. I gain a few more kills on our way back to the Mantis, where we tell Seer and Grease we have a new crew member. We go back to Bogano to use the Astrium in the vault and kill the space frog in our way. Inside the vault, Cal receives a warning from the Zeffo and what could potentially happen if they use the holocron.
Surrender now, and we may spare the youngest.
Cal turns around to find the holocron and a special visitor from his favorite Darksider. He gets the upper hand, but freezes as this is his first time touching a girl's saber. Trilla seizes her chance to take the holocron and leave while Cal is treated to all her lovely memories. When he regains his composure, we run outside and take out the troopers dumb enough to engage us and reach the Mantis to tell everyone the bad news. Seer knows exactly where Trilla is taking it and elevates Cal from Padawan to Jedi Knight. When we show up at the fortress that Seer was tortured at, Merrin camouflages the ship so we can sneak by. Cal and Seer formulate a plan to infiltrate the base, which is later recycled by Obi-Wan in his own show. While Seer focuses on taking down their defenses, Cal kills a whole lot more enemies with our usual methods, along with the 6 stormtroopers I counted after we flood a section of the fortress. We watch Seer return to form before our very eyes prior to opening the door to the holocron where Trilla awaits for our final duel. Well, second to last duel because I need to restart after getting murdered. I defeat her and take the holocron from her while Seer apologizes for failing her, but right when it seemed like they might reconnect, we hear a familiar sound. In what's one of the most effective scenes at portraying how terrifying Darth Vader is, he jumps down to execute Trilla for failing him and yeets Seer like nothing. Cal gets 2 seconds to react before Vader begins to choke him, but that's not a kink of Cal's, so he uses the Force to create just enough of a distraction to free himself. He gets tossed backwards and sees a little taste of Vader's power as we run the fuck away, and Vader casually kills most of the troopers here except for 2. We get inside the elevator just in time, but Vader doesn't give up that easily and surprises us while Cal is contacting the Mantis. BD1 shocks Vader for not subscribing, reminding him and all of you to do the same. Vader throws Cal back again and uses his own saber to remove his dignity, but then Wild Seer appears and uses her rage to temporarily subdue Vader. He encourages her to give in to it, but with Cal on her side, she refuses and puts a bubble up between them and Vader. Cal recognizes they're fighting a losing battle here and shatters the glass to flood the corridor, but he forgot to take a deep breath and they both faint. Luckily for them, their new crewmate is a strong swimmer and gets them back to the Mantis to recover. They rejoice and celebrate their success.
Sorry.
Cal opens the holocron and after some consideration destroys it, saying he'll leave their fate to the Force and asks his friends what's next. They fade into the title card as we fade into the final numbers. I finished Jedi Fallen Order with 744 kills, with 52% of those coming from my lightsaber. Unsurprisingly, Imperial troops made up nearly 60% of Cal's total kills. I finished with 7 deaths total, way less than whatever my final total was when I first played this game upon release. That puts my kill-death ratio at 106.29. I was able to complete the game in a little under 14 hours, which gives us a kill on average every 1.13 minutes and a death just about every 2 hours. Fallen Order was one of my favorite games of 2019. Being a Star Wars fan, I was so excited to see the franchise give us more fun single-player experiences, and I'm stoked for the sequel. Disney, give our boy Cal some live-action appearances, please. I want to see Cameron Monaghan be able to expand upon this character some more. I'll be playing Jedi Survivor Day 1, and we'll get that video out as soon as I can. can. Thanks as always for watching, and may the Force be with you. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.